Key points and pitfalls, and what to do when you don't feel like doing anything. Is there a way out? You just unexpectedly hit rock bottom, and then you no longer have the energy or strength to recover everything or reach a new level, and most importantly, you don't understand how it happens so quickly because it happens imperceptibly, gradually. Such requests often appear in private messages or in video comments. I'd like to delve into this in more detail. Today, we'll explore three interesting phenomena: critical points, life traps, and the lack of motivation, the so-called state when you have no strength for anything. Those of you who have already watched the first lessons from the free course are probably familiar with the concept of key points. Those pivotal moments I talked about in these lessons. Yes, those moments that throw you out of your usual way of life, but can also become your moment of inner strength. For the most part, many of such situations are created for our growth and development, especially when we feel inside that everything has become stagnant, craving for change. But we don't yet understand how to approach it. Key points are distinguished from the rest by a very sharp movement. Everything happens abruptly and all at once that lead to differences. There's no turning back, and we'll talk more about them. But I also think many of you know that besides such key points, there's also the concept of life traps, which can sometimes suck us in, and how to distinguish these two concepts. What can be a key point and a unique turning point that can radically change your life and become your moment of strength? And what will be a life trap? These are situations in life that we can turn to our advantage. They facilitate our transformation, rapid changes, and make us stronger. If we're talking about what distinguishes key points from everything else, in my experience, it's something abrupt. Something that just throws a person out of their usual way of life, forcing them literally to step out of their comfort zone into a moment of bewilderment when they don't want to, but they must make a choice. They need to act, because things won't be the same as before. A person going through key points in their life needs to make some decisions. They need to act. They have to change. And this situation either makes them stronger or breaks them. And as I said, these situations are primarily created for us to undergo our own transformation, a very powerful one. Thus, each such moment can become a moment of unconditional strength. It's useful to recall your own experience or the experience of people you know who have gone through something similar. A trap you fall into unobtrusively, but with life traps, it's a bit different. As many life traps as I've seen, they all follow roughly the same script. If you've been watching my channel for a long time, you know that when we talk about such examples of life traps, we understand that these are set by the dark forces, and the dark forces act more or less the same. Life traps differ from critical moments in that they are traps you fall into unobtrusively. You think everything is as usual, stable, that nothing changes. There's no moment of surprise, no feeling of the rug being pulled from under your feet, but everything happens gradually, little by little, imperceptibly, in small steps. But you're being pushed and pushed towards the abyss. You don't understand how you find yourself in some web and realize what happened only when you're already like a fly, fully wrapped in a cocoon, because life traps set by the dark forces are about unobtrusive manipulation of person. They throw something here, something there, and it seems like no one is violating your will, but you're gradually being pushed in a certain direction, and so unobtrusively that you don't notice anything. They lead you away in such a way that you don't notice anything yourself. That's the main task of a life trap. Life traps are quite cunning and slippery. How to distinguish a life trap from key points is clear. But is it possible to avoid a life trap, and how to tell if you're being dragged into one? Listen to the inner response. Listen to your soul. Orient by the inner beacon. It's the inner beacon that will act as a guide, like a light driving away all darkness and help you see the path. Again, the inner beacon, the inner response. In a life trap, as you navigate this maze, you still feel when you're being led unobtrusively. But you should approach this skeptically, with a cool head. What's happening? Something's not right here. You always catch that feeling, something's off here. There are always warning signs. It's just that we somehow constantly ignore them, hoping for the next "it seemed to me." That "seemed to me," it's better not to dismiss it. A good reminder. If something seems to you, it means it's not just your imagination. One of my favorite phrases, when such warning signs arise, the main thing is to look at what's happening to you as if from the outside. And all these feelings and warning signs will help in such a situation to navigate. If you pay attention to such warning signs, it will help you to jump off life traps in time. Lack of energy. Next, nothing motivates. Life energy at zero. Batteries are drained. I'm often asked this question, and people often write it that they lack energy. Constantly life energy at zero, and nothing motivates, and there's no strength for anything. I've often said, including on YouTube, what this means, and I'll write it here as well. If you experience such states of absolute exhaustion, you can't do anything, have no strength or motivation, then you must understand that this is not a state of normality. This is not a state of normality. For a person, in general, such states are not the norm. In my experience, I've also encountered such states. I thought it was because I was exhausting myself, because I was tired, because I needed to rest. Because I wasn't getting enough sleep. I wasn't allowed to sleep enough, but even when I was allowed to sleep, I still didn't get enough sleep. And I woke up absolutely shattered. I had no energy, no strength for anything. It was exactly when I was lured into such a life trap, you might say, gradually led away. When you feel like a squeezed lemon and there's a feeling of drained battery, it means you're being very effectively drained. Something or someone, some larva or some wires, are very effectively taking energy from you, and they suck out just enough energy so that you have just enough to exist, barely moving your legs. They leave you no energy for self-realization. They drain you to the maximum. And when there's such a strong squeeze, health starts to suffer. Why do we get back pain? For instance, why do we start getting headaches or other problems? Chronic pains arise, other health issues. They occur in places where energy is usually drained, because such parasites then move on to what gives energy to your body. These are energy attacks, and in the place where you're constantly attacked, problems will arise. Hence the constant feeling of wanting to sleep, the constant feeling of being shattered. And even if you've worked through these moments with connections, don't forget that there are magical dates, magical moments, and during such moments attacks often happen. People feel bad, people often get sick, and after such holidays, it's better to clean all this magical influence. It's removed by returning. I've talked a lot about this on YouTube. I have free videos about how to disconnect connections, set personal boundaries, and there's a whole series of practical videos you can apply, and you'll get rid of it. What if nothing changes and everything is left as it is? A state of being shattered, energy at zero, a feeling of hopelessness. These are precisely the signs that you've fallen into a life trap when you, without noticing it yourself, face the fact that you end up in such a cocoon, like that fly that's gradually being eaten by the spider. Therefore, if nothing changes, then everything will only get worse, and it will get worse. But gradually, just as you were brought into this state, everything will also gradually worsen. Choice is an expression of will. It's what gives us strength. It's our inner strength. Until you want to change something in your life, nothing will change. Any change in your life, even in having more energy, is primarily a choice. Choice is an expression of will. It's what gives us strength. It's our inner strength, the strength with which you can disconnect connections, set personal boundaries, and it's the strength that can move the space around you, building the event lines you need, casting intentions, and so on. Therefore, your choice of who to be, stay in the cocoon, feeling day by day the chronic lack of energy, or become strong and take life into your own hands. Become stronger, be independent, and live your life the way you want. And this will become the new level you can achieve. 3 recommendations for such situations. First, What you need to understand if you've fallen into a life trap, as we discussed, it won't get better until you want to change everything and start acting. It all depends directly on you, your will. Until you decide that I no longer want to experience such states, these states will haunt you. Therefore, the first thing is not to ignore such states. Second, start expressing your will. I'm against it. I choose other states. And third, create your new future with your choice. Start acting, and don't be afraid. This world is for you. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share my channel. Become a member of my Telegram channel and discuss with like-minded people around there.